Okay, there we go. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We are back here with the Sarah Scoop Show, and I've got Ashley with me. Ashley has been with us all season long, recapping Matt's season of The Bachelor. And Ashley, last night's episode, what'd you think?
Yet another big one, another one filled with drama. That doesn't seem to be dying down anytime soon. So, yeah, there's a lot to cover, I feel like.
There is so much drama like on the show, just like surrounding The Bachelor at this point, even just like on social media. I mean, there's a lot happening in the Bachelor world right now.
Yeah. And again, I've tried my best not to do too much outside research just from what I see on the show, but I did come across a few things that were eye-opening about some of the contestants.
Oh, tell us.
Which is a little disappointing. Something in regards to Rachel. I don't know if you've heard anything about a little questionable past.
Rachel's the one that everyone's like, I love Rachel, right?
Yeah. Which is a shame because her one-on-one was really cute with Matt, and they do seem to have really good chemistry. But if these things that are resurfacing, just like insensitive, maybe like racially charged things have come up about her. So I hope it's not true. If it is, that's really sad.
I haven't seen this. Is it on Twitter or something that you read about?
Yeah, so apparently I actually just watched it. There's a girl on TikTok who posted a screenshot of Rachel and Matt's one-on-one and basically calling Rachel out for bullying this girl in high school when she dated a guy of a different race. So it was just like the irony of her now being on national television doing something that she bullied me and other girls in high school for is pretty wild. So that was disappointing to see.
That's always interesting. Like your past, like people, their pasts like can come back. I mean, and it would be interesting. I'll have to look up the girl that you mentioned. I'm sure I'll probably find it on TikTok and see what she had to say.
Yeah, apparently there's like a whole Reddit thing too. I mean, you could very easily go down the rabbit hole with this, but I just saw that video and I was like, oh, yikes. So.
Well, there's so much. We could probably keep talking about all of these rumors, but we will hit back onto the show. So last night's episode, starting out with Queen Victoria. I want to cover this one. So we finally saw her leave.
Finally.
And I just am so curious what she is like in real life.
I know. I really want to know too, because sometimes when you see her on camera, it seems like she's playing up her attitude in this persona, but it also seems very natural at the same time. So, yeah. And it seems like the women in the house kind of feel that she's pretty much always that way when the cameras even aren't on. So yeah, I'm very curious about that.
I know. Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, it does seem like she's playing a role. I give her that, but it also is like, how could she be on constantly like that? Like, it has to be something of her personality.
Yeah. And just the way that she's able to twist things around and try and get apologies from the people that she's being awful to it's wild.
Even when she left, I feel like, if anyone hasn't watched it, she gets eliminated and then she is not up. Like, a lot of times the contestants will hug goodbye to the Bachelor, Bachelorette, even though they don't get a rose. She was not having that.
No, and it's so interesting because she's, was trying to plead her case and that she's not a bully. And then she completely showed who she was to Matt at the very end. Like, instead of just leaving and, bowing out and just respecting his decision, she kind of doubled down on all of the behavior all of the girls have been accusing her of, like right in front of him.
That's so true. And okay, so last night, what did you think of Matt on last night's episode?
Finally, we got to see a little more of him, and I'm really happy the way that he handled all of the drama. I think that he was, very no nonsense with it. He definitely tried to hear everyone out and get all sides of the story. But when it came down to it, he let go of the right people and, didn't think twice about it, which I thought was really good. It just shows that he's serious about it and he cares about, the other women in the house and their well-being and their experience. So it was nice to see him, kind of take charge of that.
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying like that he's unaware of this drama. From being in the house, do you think that is a realistic possibility that the lead would just have no idea that all of this drama is happening?
Yeah. I mean, I think that he can see glimpses of it in group date situations, but, doesn't understand the full scope of it. Just an example, I know I bring up Crystal from my season a lot, but she was really the only example of that we had. And Ari didn't know everything that was going on. And, only until we started speaking up about it and kind of enlightening him on what was going on in the house is when he started to address it. So, they really don't mingle with you 24/7. So they're very separated from the women.
And it was Katie that spoke up about Victoria, right? To him, wasn't that correct? And so I guess from someone that has, lived this and you've been in the house, is it, I guess, like, would you say that, like, in Katie's position, it's a good thing to be the person that stands up? Or do you feel like that, like, puts a drama sticker on you because you're the person that's talking about the drama, so you must be associated with it? Or, like, it's like, for me, I don't know, like, flip a coin. Is that good or bad? Like, what do you think?
So it's good and bad. It's good because, I guess in some cases you do kind of look like the hero, and also good because, if you speak up, you get more camera time. So, the producers definitely reward you with that. They reward the villains too for, being on their worst behavior. So, if you're going to be calling people out, then they want to highlight that. But it's bad because then your name kind of gets thrown in with all of the drama. And sometimes, the lead bachelorette and bachelors, they don't always make the right decision when deciding who is the source of it all. So it's kind of a risky thing because you don't want to be mistaken as the one who's, kind of the source of everything.
Yeah, I feel like Katie is getting a lot of like good, like people are they're just relating to her, at least in like what I've read. I don't know everyone's opinion, but it seems like people are she's not getting a lot of backlash for these things. And I guess that's really good for her. Like she's getting a lot of praise. So I don't know if I was in the situation, I don't know if I would be like, yeah, I want to go tell them all about all the drama that's happening or not. But it seems like she's rolling with it.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in the house, I definitely stayed away from all of it. I mean, I knew everything that was going on, but I didn't speak up about anything. And I think the reason why Katie is getting a lot of support too is because the way that she's gone about it, it just seems very genuine and seems like it's coming from a good place. I mean, she doesn't exactly throw anyone under the bus or, she didn't tell Matt exactly what the rumors were that were going around. She just kind of like put it out there like, hey, like it's getting pretty catty and toxic in the house and you might want to address it. And I think just the way that she's done it has been really mature.
Yes, I agree with that. Okay, so let's see. There was also Anna also left. I have some notes so I didn't forget this time their names, but Anna also left. Did you have were you upset about that or happy? What do you think about her leaving?
On one hand, I'm kind of indifferent because I don't feel like she had a good connection with Matt anyway. So it's kind of like, all right, well, you can go now. But I also don't think that she's necessarily a bully. I think she just kind of repeated some rumors she heard. And to be honest with you, she was probably coaxed into saying, what she heard from producers, if I'm being honest. And she kind of got thrown under the bus there. And she's the only one of the women who, when confronted by Matt, actually owned up to everything and like showed any sign of like remorse or like, oh my God, like, I've made a mistake. Like she owned it and apologized. And the other women, they're kind of like, no, like that never happened,
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. She was more real about it. But then also I know like even when they're doing their little on the fly interviews and things, it's like, we don't know what else she said. Like we just get to see bits and pieces. Right. I do have a question for you. And I don't know like how much you even know about this or can tell us, but one of the big things going on. Like, I know this wasn't about the show, but it's still Bachelor related. Dylan was tweeting about Jed and all of that stuff, talking about how producers get to pick who. And I don't know if it was him that said this, but he was saying like that he had never cheated on Hannah, all of that. And then there's other things. I think they're kind of spiraling from those initial tweets. So I don't remember if Dylan was the one that said it or if it's just like going on about how producers are kind of in the, like they get to pick who's staying in the house and who's not. Do you have any insight on that?
I mean, I have my speculations. I don't know for sure, but I do think they have a lot of say. And I mean, of course, you know, the lead does as well. I mean, if they actually have a connection with somebody, the producers are aware. And of course, they're not going to tell you to send them home. Right. But it is like, it does seem like it's a little bit of a game of chess in the house with the producers because, you know, they pose as your friend, but they also have a job to do. So I kind of kept my distance with them, and you know, I just didn't want, you know, anything to be like twisted or manipulated in any way, you know, which is their job. I mean, they're in the TV business. And as much as, you know, the show is about finding love, it's about making good TV at the end of the day. So it's something you have to be careful of. So yeah, I think they definitely have a lot of pull with that. And just the way that they can drive a narrative and drive your character. Dylan said something. He's like, it's hard for them to make a good person look bad, but very easy to make a bad person look worse. And they definitely play on that. So,
yeah. And I think that's, I have no idea. Obviously, like we're not producers. We have no idea. Disclaimer, we're just here talking, everyone watching. But I would say that it does seem like some of these people are kept on even when there's not a connection because they make for good TV or something like that. But I think it's important that you highlighted if they do have a connection with someone, they're not going to make the leads send them home.
Right, definitely. Because with the Victoria thing, I never saw anything special going on between her and Matt. And I mean, honestly, he looked a little bothered every time he had to sit down and talk with her. So, you know, like, why would he keep her? You know, so it's just things like that you think about. And you're like, okay.
I haven't seen this in the previews or anything, but doesn't Victoria seem like one that in like a week or two would be back? Like, no, with this, we need to work this out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Speaking of, so Heather, finally we get to see her. Like, I know on our like very first Bachelor recap, we had talked about how Heather would be popping up on this season. So it is funny though, like Chris Harrison's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Like, yeah, well, you probably did because she probably had a quarantine for a couple of weeks too. And she just pulls up like asking for him.
Yeah. I have very mixed feelings about this Heather situation. Like you said, we touched on it on the very first recap. I think it's a very calculated thing. I don't really know that there's any real reason for her to show up. If there was something there between her and Matt, you know, she's good friends with Hannah B, who's very close with Tyler C. So they were all quarantining together. If there was something there, they could have explored it then, not now while he's the Bachelor. Like even before he was even announced to be on Claire's season or anything. Like I think the timing is a little convenient.
And it's always interesting to me, like the ones that come back. Was it her reaching out? Was it them reaching out to her? Kind of like, you know, like if I don't know, I imagine that a lot of people that are on the show would be like, oh yeah, let me try again, just if they were willing to do it the first time. So you know, I'm interested to see how that storyline plays out, like what it was about their relationship, or I don't know, like wasn't it Kelly and Peter that they had already met in person at one point, and she wanted to come meet him again or whatever it was, and so it's like, did Heather and Matt have some, like you said, they were in the same friend group? Did they already have something?
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to see how that plays out as well and how that all came to be. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out more next week.
Yeah, and it is like week 6 and we're still getting new people.
Oh, I know. And I feel like at this point he does have some good connections with a handful of the women in the house. So to throw another wrench into the mix, I feel like is really unnecessary at this point.
Yeah, because I'm still like, it's still kind of hard for me to get into this season, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, it's plain, it's kind of the same thing every week. It's same girls talking. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to switch it up.
So I'm just like, another person coming on, are we, do we really want this? We need to like eliminate some of these people so we can actually see some real connections, like just so people can get more invested in the show.
Right. I agree. I think that they tried to do way too much with this season because, they can't travel. They're stuck in one place. So I feel like they probably thought in their mind, the more drama, the better. It's going to keep people engaged. And really, I think it's pushing a lot of viewers away because at the end of the day, you do want to see that story, a love story kind of develop. And we're not really getting that.
It would be interesting to go back and watch like the first season of The Bachelor. I don't know if they did all the traveling and everything at that point or if that was added on, but
yeah, I don't know.
It would just be interesting to see that because I remember there were a lot of people that like they were teachers and nurses and just things like that were like that was their careers, and which I know everything has changed since then.
Yeah,
it would be interesting to see if it was, I don't know, new. It was so new that people were just watching it because they wanted to see this love story. And now I don't know if people are watching for all this drama or if they're just watching it because they've always been a fan of the show. And personally, like, I think we've talked about this a lot. We're kind of over the drama. Like, let's see the story unfold. Like what's going to happen in the end? Because everyone wants to see them end in an engagement. Like you watch the whole season, you want to see a happy ending. Are we going to get that?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I agree. I think in the very early seasons of the franchise, you saw a little bit more of like a true like love connection and like a true story because there wasn't social media back then. And if you got on the show, it wasn't like a golden ticket to, becoming an influencer. So, we have a lot of that now, unfortunately.
And don't get me wrong, like I think influencers can go find love on the show and everything, all of that, like go for it. But like, I guess this is so cliche, but be there for the right reasons. Like be there because you want to meet the Bachelor. Like I feel like it's taken away from people that would be open to giving the whole experience like 100%.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
But also you mentioned Tyler earlier, and in the previews, not only did they show Heather, but they showed Tyler. So Tyler, what do you think? I mean, I knew he was going to have to come as someone, Matt being his friend and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like he probably comes on as obviously like a friend, maybe like advisor role. So I wonder if he'll get to meet any of the girls. It actually would be nice if they did a group date. And maybe Tyler was there to kind of observe and, just give a second, set of eyes for Matt, just to, give his input on what he sees.
Yeah, I hope he's like super real. Like if you were talking to your friend, not talking to the Bachelor, like just talking to your friend in real life. And this is what I'm thinking instead of I'm on a show, like let me keep it together. So we'll see how that happens.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I like their friendship, so it'll be nice to see.
Okay, is there anything that we didn't hit that really stood out for last night's episode to you?
MJ is getting a lot of heat. So it ended, I think, with her and Jasenia on their kind of 2-on-1 before the cocktail party, which was a very unexpected 2-on-1 sort of matchup. Yeah, I didn't realize that MJ had so much attitude.
I didn't either. I liked MJ from the beginning though, like her fun hair. She just seemed like she was like, I don't know, just be a little like spark of joy and fun. But I don't know now. I'm like, what's MJ? They all have like something up their sleeve this season, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I liked her in the very beginning. I mean, but we also didn't get to like hear or see much of her. I just really liked her look. I thought she was very interesting. And I will say I did kind of see her jump on that us versus them bandwagon. So
yes, that's true.
There is truth to it. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how it plays out next week. But yeah, I don't know if I'm loving her right now.
I don't know. She might be taking Victoria's little spot there. But overall, I mean, I do think this season, like, it has dragged on, in my opinion. I mean, I think in a lot of people's opinions, and Matt has, I mean, I don't know. Like, we don't know for sure if he's not seen all the drama. Like, I don't know. From what we've seen in the editing and what we see on our TV screens, he is changing. So hopefully we'll get to see more of him and more of like a strong personality, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And again, I think it comes down to maybe just, getting rid of a few more girls that are, less dramatic and more there to explore their relationship with him. And then we'll get to really see, those sort of relationships evolve and, dive deeper into it. I still think that there's too many girls and we're like so far into it.
I was going to ask you, how many weeks is it? I should know this, but I was trying to look at it and I was reading about it, but I read a couple of different things. And I know sometimes they'll like add in like a little extra here or there, or they do it on like Monday and Tuesday. So we don't really always know how many weeks, but I'm like, week 6 coming up, lots of girls, adding Heather, like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are we going to have like 15 hometown dates?
I know, it feels like it at this point. But yeah, we're going into week 6, I think, right?
Yeah, week 6.
Yeah, I feel like they're usually so much further along at this point. So yeah, I don't know, but they are just really hammering us with the girls and the drama this season. I'm tired.
Yes, they are. Well, we will be back again next week recapping. We'll get to see what happens with Heather, what happens with the other women, see how many stay for, week 7 and all of that. So make sure to join us next Tuesday. We'll be recapping next Monday night's episode. If there's anything you want us to be on the lookout for or anything like that, make sure to leave it in the comments. And again, thank you so much to Ashley for joining us for this lovely recap.
Thanks for having me again.